How you guys doing? This is Isaac Eubank, and this is MMA Fight Talk. I'm here with Mike the Truth Jackson. He's a YouTuber, an MMA fighter, pretty much a local celeb out here in Houston, man. I'm really excited to have him on here. He's really deep in the scene, in the MMA scene, and I just wanted to get into his mind, man. See what gets him going, man. See what motivates him because he's really active in the MMA scene, and I kind of look up to the cat. So this is the episode where I'm learning, and you're watching me learn, you guys. So how you been, Mike?
I've been great. Well, let's correct that. UFC welterweight, Mike the Truth Jackson.
There you go.
Yeah. But
There you
no,
go.
I've been great. Things are going well on my end. Had an eventful week last week in Houston, but so far, so good.
That's good, man. How has the reactions been since your fight in the UFC, man? I know that you fell short from what you wanted to do, but I mean overall you're a good guy, and I think the support that I've seen online has been pretty positive. So I mean, has it been that way on your end, or have you seen some negativity or what?
No, for the most part, everything's been positive. There have been some negative aspects but that's with anything in life. You're going to get people who want to bring you down, as opposed to just ignoring the situation. All these people who like to sit here and slander and things like that. They'll be better off just not saying anything at all. But they feel the need, because of who I am. They feel the need to try to voice their negative opinions about me. And they're trying to get some attention and trying to make a name for themselves in this regard. But look, I've been doing this for a while as far as being in the spotlight with people and, covering the scene. Look, I get people who hate me for no reason. These are people I've never met in my life, have never spoken to, and they have this negative attitude toward me, and I don't understand why. But again, it is what it is, and I just, it's no sweat off my back.
Hey, that's cool, man. Like I said, man, it seems to me like you keep a positive attitude, man. You're always upbeat when I see you online doing stuff, man, and I like that about you, and that's why I'm fucking with you right now. I really I want to know though, and just to help, people like me and some of the people that have some questions, what are you gonna do now? Are you gonna what kind of changes are you gonna make? Are you gonna really hit it hard and focus more on the cage, or are you going to just kind of use what you've done as a springboard to kind of help you out in your career, in your media career and stuff like that? What's your goals, man? Where are we going from here?
A little bit of both, actually. I'm definitely going to either today or tomorrow. Probably going to be tomorrow. I'm going to get back into the gym. I've taken some time off, mainly to eat. That's my favorite. But I've been doing that and just working on a few other things, just on the side and behind the scenes. But this week I'm getting back into the gym, and I'm going to focus on the MMA because even before the call came through, I was getting back into the gym. I recently graduated college and I had all this free time now. And so I definitely want to train full time. And my goals for the year were to compete in MMA at least twice a year. I've already knocked the first one out. I've signed a 4-fight deal with the UFC, but for those, they can cut you at any time. I
Yeah.
haven't been cut yet, so I don't know if that was more of a clerical error on their part, or they have something in the future for me. But I'm definitely going to get back into the gym this week. I'm going to focus on MMA, because the fight I took, it was really a 4-week camp. Now, it was one of the best camps I've ever had. I have to say that. I had some additions to things I haven't done before, as far as like strength conditioning and chiropractic work, things like that. So I'm just gonna have that now, and I'm gonna have full training camps,
Hmm.
and we're just gonna see what happens. I definitely want to return to boxing and kickboxing at some point in time. Because that's my passion, that's my true love. When it's not fighting in MMA. So again, we're just gonna see what happens from here.
That's cool, man. Now you train at 4 Ounce Fight Club, right?
That's one of the gyms that I train at. I train at quite a few gyms. Being who I am in the Houston MMA community, I have a lot of doors open for me, and I'm grateful for everyone who's allowed me to train with them. 4 Ounce is a gym that I train at. My other gyms are Houston Muay Thai, which have the same head trainer, Bob Perez. I also train boxing at Savannah Boxing, and I do my strength and conditioning at the Athletic Performance Lab,
Cool
which
deal.
is
Cool deal.
actually probably right down the street from you in Katy.
Oh yeah, it actually is, man. Now, this is a question I had for you, man. What about your ground game, brother? I love your I love your stand up. You have good movement. Your counter punches are beautiful, man. I mean, absolutely beautiful. I mean, like even I'd even dare to say like Conor McGregor esque. You know, the way you can slip and just get a punch in there. I'm telling you, I love it. But what about the ground game? Where are you going? Who are you fucking with? Because this is a serious thing.
Right. No, I agree. And for this whole camp, well, even before the camp, I've taken about 3 years away from MMA. And during that time, I was definitely working on my wrestling, and well, more counter wrestling. Look, I don't feel out of place when I'm on the ground. It's just somewhere I would prefer to strike. In the fight against Mickey Gall, that was just a hiccup. I made a mistake and I slipped. It was. Don't get me wrong. I'm taking nothing away from Mickey Gall. He threw the punch. It did land, but it wasn't a clean punch. It was more of a push, and I was just off balance. And I literally blinked, and the guy was on my back. So by
Hmm.
that time, I mean, and then he's a brown belt. He's a high level jiu-jitsu guy, and he obviously has a little bit more or a lot more experience in that aspect of the game than I do. And it was what it was.
Yeah.
But as far as training goes, look, I've been training on the ground. I've been training counter wrestling. I was prepared for his shots and things like that. It just so happened that it went to the ground unexpectedly with the punch push.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, man, that I think that you do possess the potential, man, to get in there and actually do something. And I'm really excited to see you get in there and do something, man. I don't want to sit here and just harp on your game, man. This is not a episode to beat on you, man. I'm telling you, I'm a huge fan. So let's just move it on. I want to know your opinion, man, on like the MMA scene and where you think it's going. Do you think that we're heading in the right direction? Because I'm starting to hear some scary stuff that's starting to discourage me from even wanting to, even watch it, man. Stuff like Fox News maybe buying it out and stuff like that. Man, this whole Reebok deal's got me all messed up. I don't know, man. What's your opinion?
The early part of the question cut off. What exactly did you say?
I just wanted to know basically your opinion on the game and what direction do you think it's going in?
Oh, okay. When I was out in Vegas, again, that was a beautiful experience. And it was eye opening, career changing even. Um,
Hmm.
I was able to sit and speak with some people confidentially about some things, and the whole Reebok thing. And I've heard the news about other people trying to buy them out and things like that, which I didn't know was public until now. Um, I think early on, like you're saying right now with the Reebok deal, there are going to be some hiccups. I think in the long run, 5, 10 years from now, I think it's going to be beneficial for the sport. They just have to work out the kinks pretty much.
Yeah.
I think the Reebok deal itself, they they went at it too quickly. They tried to implement this system too fast, and they weren't prepared for the outcome from the fighters. I don't think it was planned very well. I mean, look at they were misspelling people's names. I
Yeah.
mean, something so small yet so big.
Yeah.
How can you misspell someone's or you're putting like the and I was this close to buying it. I missed it by a few minutes. The Anderson Aldo shirt. I wanted that so bad. Um, but how do you make these mistakes when you're trying to be
Yes.
a leader and the MMA apparel business?
Hmm.
They're gonna have to work out the kinks, but I think in the long run, it's gonna be beneficial. One of the things that stood out to me was I was listening to the Chael Sonnen podcast, several months ago, and he spoke on the Reebok deal. And one of the things that he said was, well, as far as sponsorships go, he was like, "Look, you're in a sport, and look at NBA and all these guys. They don't have uniforms with all these different sponsors on it. MMA was just it was an avenue that it was almost like the Wild West. So you had people come
Hmm.
in and they were able to do things that other people weren't able to do. They kind of did
Yeah.
what they wanted to do,
Yep.
And in particular, we're talking about the sponsors here.
Yeah.
These major sports, they don't have that. You have like NASCAR and things like that that you get away with. But your sports like the NBA, NFL, baseball, or the MLB, they don't have these type of sponsors. And the MMA, they were doing things that you know possibly shouldn't have been doing. Depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it happened. The sponsors came into the game and they were advertising. But it just needs to be a way where the fighters can um, maybe a profit sharing or some type of union or whatever the case may be, where the fighter or us fighters can benefit financially just like the promotions are.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. And it did. It looked sloppy before when you had the fighters, putting all this stuff on them. And I think it does look professional. I think it does look good. I like the uniform, but at least let them have a banner because you have the UFC mat, and the UFC mat is covered with sponsors. I mean, so the UFC is able to, have sponsors and to make money. Why can't the fighters at least have a banner behind them? They can wear the uniform. It looks good. It separates them from these other promotions like Bellator and stuff like that. I mean, so I agree with you in that aspect, but give them a banner.
Can I
You
say
know?
fuck Bellator real quick? Can you say that?
I'm sorry?
Can we say fuck Bellator real quick? No?
Oh, something about Bellator? Yeah,
Yeah.
Bellator, man, that was it was funny, man. It was a spectacle. But I'm gonna tell you what, man. Even though it was a spectacle, I enjoyed watching it, man. I enjoyed seeing Hoist Gracie pummel the shit out of Ken Shamrock. Right? You know what I mean? I fucking was laughing my ass off. And then to see, Dada go down like that, was pretty comical. Only, afterwards when I heard that, he had to be resuscitated and shit like that, I was just like, God damn, that wasn't cool. But still, man, I mean, it was pretty fucking comical, man.
No, I agree. I never had high expectations for either one of those fights. They were what they were as far as the booking goes, but that just shows you where the organization is, where you can take uh, Kimbo Slice and Dada 5000. Um, at best, they should have been the opening fight on or on the main. Excuse me. At best,
Yeah.
Hoist Gracie and Ken Shamrock shouldn't have been on the card at all. I don't care how you look at it. They shouldn't have been on the card. That fight shouldn't have even happened. And it's crazy the fight shouldn't have happened, but the person who people thought were going to lose won.
Yeah.
People thought Ken Shamrock was going to destroy Hoist, mainly because, look, I know Hoist weighed in at about 190 pounds, but I know for a fact he didn't weigh 190 pounds come weigh-in day. He had the gi on. He had things under the gi. Look, it was crazy. But with that being said, I would have watched it as well. And again, but look, I just like watching. Look, I watch crazy shit on YouTube all the time. And
Exactly.
that's something for YouTube.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah.
for a promotion who had Scott Coker come in and he's trying to
Compete.
revitalize Bellator and
Yeah.
make it this. I don't think he's necessarily wanting to compete with the UFC because at this point, there's no one who can compete with the UFC. I mean, think of it from other organizations. Think of it from the NBA or MLB. Look at the smaller organizations. Like the CBA isn't competing with the NBA. It's football. The Canadian Football League isn't competing with the NFL. And people need to sort of know their roles here. And I think with Scott Coker coming in, he was that kind of spotlight saying, look, we're not going to be the UFC. This is not the game plan. But with that being said, you have to be a legitimate promotion. You have companies like Legacy. They're a legitimate promotion. They're
Yeah.
not putting on these freak shows. If they want to put on these little side attractions, let them go over to Japan where that's people over there they enjoy that. But
Hmm.
to legitimize yourself as an MMA promotion out here, we have to stop these sideshow fights. Look, and I'm saying when you have two fighters who combine the age, they're over 100 years old, someone's bound to get hurt. It just so happened that Ken Shamrock's nuts got hurt. Uh, and you have, and then even the Kimbo and Dada, they are almost 100-year-old combined, and Dada died. He literally died, and they had to bring him back to life.
Yeah.
These things shouldn't be happening.
No, they shouldn't.
And his death, his heart stopping, it wasn't even from the fight itself. Well, it wasn't from like a punch or a strike or a choke. It
No,
was
it's
him
exertion.
exhaustion.
Yeah.
It was him cutting weight improperly and rehydrating improperly.
Yep.
And because this guy, they're uneducated. They don't know what they're doing. They're just in the spotlight, and it looks bad on the sport.
It does, man. I agree with you 100%. It was comical to watch. I do feel a little bit guilty now that you've done schooled me. I feel like I feel like my dad just took me to school, man. But no, it's all good, man. You're right. They shouldn't do that to the sport. If they want to be taken seriously, they need to be putting up serious fights. I think the Melvin Gillard fight was a pretty serious fight. I was sad that he did not win. I don't know. What do you think's next for Melvin, man?
Man, I don't know. Really, the whole card was fun, and it was I'm not gonna say it was fun because there were some terrible fights even on the undercard itself. But the card was a legitimate card until the last two fights.
Yeah, yeah.
But as far as Melvin, look, I don't know. He's coming off of the hand injury. He took some time off, and he faced Derek Campos. Derek came in on, I think, 2 weeks' notice or a week's notice, something like that. And he, like Mike Tyson said, which way did he go? Derek Campos, threw him a beating and
Yep.
really hurt him there. So, I don't know. He's a he has a lot of fights. His body's taking a lot of wear. I don't want to say this is it for him, but it's getting close. It's getting kind of that point where you're taking damage that the body shouldn't be taking.
Yeah. Man, what do you think about the head injuries and the head trauma and stuff like that? Joe Rogan on their podcast yesterday was talking. They were talking about Kevin Randleman, and they were saying that they should examine his brain. Man, I know that's a touchy subject, but this is getting to me, man. A lot of these guys, they're not stupid people. One thing about MMA, you're very analytical. You have to be a thinker. You can't be just some fucking meathead and go in there and do well, especially not today. So to see these guys put what they put themselves through and put everything on the line and then end up like this and end up dying, it's just a sad thing. And I just wanted to know what your feelings are, man. Is it something that's in the back of your mind? Does it scare you? Does it make you want to do more YouTube stuff? Do more media stuff? Or what, man? What do you think about it?
Well, this whole thing, me jumping into the media side of things, the photography side, I'm aware that you can't do this forever. It's almost like I was having a conversation with a young lady yesterday, and we were talking about Instagram models. And once you get about 40, no one wants to see a chick naked in her 40s on the Instagram. And
Yeah,
the
for
same thing
sure.
can be said for fighting. Once you get up in age, it's a detriment to your health. For me, I've been fortunate enough where I don't get hit a lot.
Hmm.
I haven't taken, even in training, like, don't get me wrong, I've been hit, I've taken some damage, but the cumulative damage isn't there for me.
Yeah.
So I haven't been in these gym wars like some kind of old school fight. And even current fighters, I know some people to this day who are in the gym and they're beating the shit out of one another.
Hmm.
For me, I've been fortunate enough to not be in those situations. So I think that's going to help with the longevity of my career. But with that being said, look, I can go into the point where, my body just can't handle the training aspect of it, let alone just the punishment of taking shots to the head. So me, that was one of the main reasons where I decided to kind of start to build the brand outside of just fighting. Like I said, the photography, the media side of it. This is just one facet of the game that I'm ready for once it's all said and done.
Yeah, for sure. And explain to me exactly what you're doing, man. Is this your full-time gig outside of the cage? Talk to me about it.
Yeah, so how this all started. I guess the title I've given myself is Houston MMA personality, and what that tells is I built my brand and my name off my video blogs. I kind of got the idea several years ago from Dana White. He's doing his blogs, but mine's a little different. You get the behind the scenes, footage of fights that fans don't normally get to. I mean, they don't get to see it at all. All fans are in the front, and they see the fights, and that's it. They don't see what goes on behind the scenes. So my blogs were a way for the fans to kind of see what goes on backstage. In addition to that, you get highlights of fights, and you get my commentary on the fights as well. And that's really the main reason I think a lot of people watch was for the backstage footage and my commentary. For me, I'm a witty guy. I'm funny, and I mean I like to make people laugh. That's just who I am. I'm an entertainer.
Hmm.
So I think that was the main reason people tuned in to see the vlogs. In addition to the vlogs, I'm a photographer, so or a photojournalist. So I'm out here at these fights, covering the fights. I'm shooting great photos. I'm telling a story, documenting the process. I do interviews. I'm interviewing individuals. The most recent one, even though it's not a fighter, I was interviewed Billy Corbin. He's the
Yeah.
director of Dogfight, and then they're coming out with a Dogfight too. I had no idea until literally the Wednesday at the press conference. I was walking around, and it was funny because I was talking to Isaac Valley Flag. He and I are good friends, but I was talking to. We were going back and forth on Twitter, and I think because Dada's name came up or whatever, and we were talking about the original Dogfight. And then like I was as we were talking about going back and forth on Twitter, I was walking into the hotel where they were having a press conference. And like 5 minutes later, I just happened to be behind someone and I saw Dogfight 2 on the back of his shirt.
Oh
So I
wow.
took a little picture and he was, Isaac wasn't a fan of it, of the movie. But I kind of took the picture and I sent it to him and I was like, look, man, I know you pissed off, but they're making a Dogfight 2. But so I do these interviews with different fighters, and now like I mentioned earlier, I've graduated. So now that I don't have school taking up my schedule, I'm gonna have more free time to continue to build a brand. I'll be able to travel more, to do more interviews. I think I have something lined up later on this week with Juliana Lima.
Cool.
She's fighting Jessica Aguilar here. I don't know the actual day. I'm assuming it's a few months coming up here. But she's out here in Houston training, so I'll just be able to travel a little bit more and cover the sport out here.
Cool. Cool, man. That sounds good. I can hear my I can hear myself on your theme. Can you turn me down a little bit?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm getting the echo back. Cool deal. Um, yeah, man. That's cool, man. Freaking. That's just the hustle, man. I respect. That's the kind of thing that I'm trying to do too. Is build it up. I do professional comedy, and I'm delving into this MMA thing, man, because a lot of people are responding from it and liking it. I wanted to get really quick your opinion on Sage Northcutt, because you're from here, just like me. I used to train with Sage. I know him. I like the kid. Do you think he's doing the right thing? Where do you think he should go from here, man?
no, Sage and I are good friends. We train together from time to time. I like what he's doing right now. I do think his last fight he really should have pulled out. I found out Tuesday that he had strep throat, and I remember seeing the picture. And my first question was, "So he's pulling out the fight, right?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "No, he's still fighting." And even at this time, I didn't realize that his fight was at 170. I would just thought it was at 155. I never knew the weight jump. But in regards to that fight, I thought she should have pulled out, and I had a feeling it was going to go that way because I was aware of the medicine that he was taking and the effect it was going to have on his body.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I think he comes back stronger. You just
100%.
can't take um, dumb fights like that, and not necessarily saying that the fight with Barbarino was a dumb fight. I just think it was dumb
because he was
to
sick.
take the fight with strep
Yeah,
and in
100%.
another weight class. And again,
100%.
he's only 19. He'll be 20 next month. You know, he's still growing. So welterweight may be the eventual home for him once once his body fully develops, which is scary to say. I mean, look at his body now, and he's only 19.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so he's only going to get bigger. So I think welterweight will be the final home for him. He just has to, and again, I think his training and everything is great, but you just have to be smarter about your career as a whole.
100%, man. I mean, I think he's young. I think he's got tons of potential, and I think he's going to go far. But I think he needs to get his ass to Canada and start training with Ross. You know what I'm saying? Stop fucking around out here in Katy, man. Because I mean, I live out here. I know the people that fucking train out here, and I'm not giving any of them props. Sorry, guys. Fucking not UFC, not UFC fucking caliber props. You know, if you guys want to fucking fight out here in Houston, go fuck with 4 ounce, man. You know, Revolution downtown's got some dope ass kickboxing too. All right.
No, I agree. You have to, once you're at this level, you have to take training a little bit more seriously. I don't think necessarily he has to. I don't think that's a must for him to go to Canada. But I do feel he needs to go to a gym or a training camp um, that's more fight specific. Taking nothing away from the guys over at Gracie Baja, I think they're a great gym, and I don't even think he should necessarily leave the gym. I just think once it comes fight time, 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out, whatever the case may be, he needs to go to a camp. And look, maybe he goes to Canada, maybe he goes out there to TriStar, or because I know he comes to 4 ounce and he comes to Houston Muay Thai, but those are more, one off, so once a week, twice a week maybe. He needs to be at a gym or a camp for fight specific training full time, especially when it comes down to crunch time in the fight game, 6 to 8 weeks out. He needs to be at a fight specific gym.
100%, man. 100%, man. And with that little speech, man, I'm voting for you for fucking 2016, my brother, because that was the most political answer I've heard. Yet. Hey, man. What's your views on Ronda, man, and this whole suicide thing, man? That's some serious shit right there. Ronda Rousey, I've always been a big fan. I think she's a straight up murderer. I do think she's got a lot of fucking work to do if she wants to come back and get that belt back from Holly Holm. For her to feel like that, though, man, it really made me think. Made me sit back and think, like, damn. Is she in the right place? Is she surrounded by the right people? I think that her coaches could be a lot better, a lot more supportive, man, because I think that they just put her up on this pedestal and fed her so much bullshit. Then when she finally fell off, she had nowhere to go.
No, Ronda is a special case, and I'm going to disagree with the feeding her bullshit line, because when Holly Holm signed to the UFC, and actually it was funny, way before Holly Holm signed to the UFC, I was able to interview Mike Winklejohn, and this was right when people were kind of starting to mention Holly Holm in the UFC. And I even asked him, I was like, what do you think about this? And he laughed at me. He as soon as I finished the question, he just laughed, and he was like, look, there's nobody in the UFC in that division who can handle Holly Holm striking, and it was proven. And the fight when she destroyed Ronda Rousey. Going into that fight, the only chance, and people were asking me, what do I think about it? And I was like, look, the only way Ronda Rousey wins this fight if somehow she's able to grab a hold of her and put her on her back. That was the only way.
Yep.
I'm driving. I was covering the event out in College Station, and I was heading back to Houston, and my boy, who was sitting by my side, he pulled it up on Periscope. I forgot who it was. I don't want to drop anybody in the grease here, but the fight was on Periscope, and I'm driving and I'm looking over like this the whole time, and I saw the takedown, and once she got back up, I immediately said, "This is it. She has nothing for her." It's all about styles. Ronda Rousey, if you look at all her opponents, these are people who have a grappling background or a wrestling background. Or let's take what's the chick's name? Betch Kohea, who's more
Uh-huh.
of a brawler style, you know. So these are individuals who have to get close to Ronda to be effective in their disciplines.
Hmm.
Where is she the fucking best?
In the clinch,
Grappling
yeah.
in close quarters. So her judo was far superior than everyone else's grappling or wrestling or brawling or whatever you had. So that's why Ronda has been so dominant. There's no other female fighter in the 135 division who's like Holly Holm. No one has that. And let's not even say just the boxing and kickboxing aspect. We're just talking about footwork.
Yeah.
No one in that division has Holly Holm's footwork. Holly Holm's not standing in front of you and trading punches and trying
Nope.
to take you down. She's just like a little jackrabbit. This is Holly Holm all over the cage. This is her just moving around,
Huh.
and she did what I knew because I've seen Holly fight in person. I've seen her the same kick she landed on Ronda. I've seen her land in person on other chicks. So I was aware of what was coming. I just don't think. I think Holly Holm fighting the lesser competition in Legacy and these other organizations and not having the best performances in her two outings in the UFC, people were doubting her. But they didn't, it's almost like MMA math, again, it's about styles and styles make fights. And I don't think the majority of the MMA world took that into consideration. They just took Ronda Rousey starching these bitches, and Holly Holm kind of looked all right in her UFC fights. So MMA math says Ronda's gonna starch this chick, but they weren't looking at the fight logically.
That's why I say they were feeding her bullshit.
Well, no, no, no. I'm not gonna say they were feeding because look, Ronda Rousey has been starching chicks.
Hmm.
She's been completely decimating the competition.
But
So
if her coach honestly thought that she can just move forward and backwards the way that she does and deal with Holly Holmes, then her coach is seriously delusional. You have to have that lateral movement to deal with Holly Holmes.
now, I will agree with that. I think Edmund is. Look, I think he's fucking horrible as a coach.
Ha!
Uh,
Thank you.
and this is me, and I don't know him personally. He could be a great guy, which I don't know. Especially with all the shit the legal trouble he's in. Um, I think and why I'm saying I think he's a shitty coach because I heard what he said to her between rounds 1 and 2, and I'm just like, yo, you're terrible. Like that's not something you tell your
Yes.
fighter.
Yes.
With that being said, I think the everything that Ronda had built up into the fight was warranted because again, she's starching people,
Yeah.
and I think the her coaches, everyone else, they were looking at this from the wrong point of view. They were looking at this from Holly Holm didn't look so good in her fights against the lesser competition.
Hmm.
So how can she stand or how can she sit in here and compete with Ronda Rousey, who's decimating people?
Hmm.
So that's how they looked at it, unfortunately. And to be honest with you, they could have looked at it from a realistic point of view and said, look, Holly Holm's going to do this. This is what you have to do to stop her.
Hmm.
Even if they looked at it from that point of view, the outcome would have been the same because Ronda Rousey does not possess the skill set to stop Holly Holm. And that's just real talk.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey, yeah, the whole thing about being her bullshit with her boxing, I agree with that. Her boxing is amateur level at best.
Yeah.
Her boxing is horrible. She's able to get away with things purely off people fearing her fucking judo toss. That's it. That's how she's able to knock people out is because people are worried about being tossed on their fucking head.
Right.
So yeah, these strikes come, but again, um, I don't think that's again. I don't think they were overall they weren't feeding her any bullshit. And even if they were being truthful with her, outside of saying, "Look, you can't beat her," I mean,
Right.
that's really as truthful as it gets. And
Yeah.
I don't think um, Ronda comes back. Hopefully, she doesn't fight Holly Holm because the same. Again, it doesn't matter. It would take Ronda Rousey and I'm just throwing out a number. It would take her roughly 5 years of training, straight boxing, not even kickboxing, just boxing. And Holly Holm would have to stop training completely for 5 years for Ronda to compete with her.
Okay.
Ronda's best hope in this whole situation is that Misha Tate's able to beat her. Ronda comes
Yeah.
back, beats Misha, and then she just retires forever.
Exactly. Now that's what I want to talk about too is Misha Tate. Now, what do you think Misha Tate's gonna do? Because Misha Tate, she took Ronda Rousey right to like what was it 3 rounds or something like that?
Something like that. In the third round.
Yeah. So I mean, and she was hitting her. You know what I mean? Misha Tate is no punk. So I'm really interested to see what happens in this next fight.
You know, look, she's a great fighter. This is going to be a tough challenge for Holly. I really don't know. It really just depends on what Misha's game plan is. Because Misha can hit. She's a striker. But again, she's going to have to go out and get Holly. She's going to have to find Holly.
Yeah.
I think that Holly kind of sandbags her first 2 fights, to be honest with you, in the UFC. That was part of the hype process behind her, or the lack of hype, because she didn't really show too much in her earlier fights. But I think she sandbagged, to be honest with you. If she truly did sandbag, and the real Holly we saw in what UFC caliber is against Ronda Rousey, I see that. I don't think it'll be as decisive like that, just getting her ass beat like Ronda did. But I see Holly Holm winning the fight.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Man, Mike, this has been real fun talking with you, man. I want to thank you so much for doing this for me, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you do something in UFC again. If you do, please give me the exclusive. Let me know what's up. Man, real quick, I gotta say, I gotta thank my sponsors, Happy Thrift on Facebook and eBay. That's your home for vintage everything, you guys. Also, flirty30s.com. The girls are live and waiting to talk to your ugly ass as we speak, so hit it up. I'm gonna be doing interviews with Tim Crater and Mark Hunt coming up, you guys, so keep a lookout for that. Real quick, Mike, anything you want to shout outs to?
Yeah, man, just make sure everybody, check me out at MikeTheTruth.com for the articles and the blog posts. And it's not just MMA related stuff. I cover various events and topics on there. So if you just want to go through and just have a good time. Look, I cover burlesque shows. Who doesn't like naked women, right?
Right.
Go check that out. But on my social media, make sure you follow me. Main things are Twitter and Instagram, but I'm picking up on Snapchat and Periscope as well. All those are the same, at The Truth Jackson. And on Facebook, you can like the page at Mike the Truth Jackson. And other than that, just stay tuned, for all of the media obligations that I have and posts and stuff like that I put out. Just stay tuned and follow along for a great time.
Cool, cool. And once again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This is Isaac Eubank. This is MMA Fight Talk. Please hit like, subscribe, share me, retweet me, do what you got to do. Help me get the word out. Peace.